your ball in the trees and then you lip out the putt. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us, 'cause now you're listening to the Ruff Cut.
Hello, and welcome down to another episode of the Ruff Cut Golf Podcast, where you're joined by myself, by Mick, and by Jacob to talk you through the weekly goings-on in the wonderful world of golf, and maybe stepping trepidatiously into the world of YouTube as we meander on to the rest of the year after the post-Masters come down, which was a real kind of adrenaline burst, which the Punta Cana Championship and Harbortown didn't quite sate.
Oh, speak for yourself.
Or the Volvo China Open, which is going on the radar.
You get a jacket for Harbortown.
You do, and you also get to fire a cannon, which I think
which is quite sick.
Which I think is the big bonus there. Or is that the following year where you got to tee off?
You open the tournament, don't you?
I don't know. I think there's just people firing cannons everywhere. So we will get into all of that. We'll get into myself as well, playing some decent golf and, getting course records left, right, and centre, because that's
just what you do now.
Just what I do. Me being the athlete that I am. But I think, first of all, let's start off at Harbortown, where we have played before. And if you've not checked out that video on YouTube, please do.
Very good.
I think I've wanted to play this golf course all my life.
Sounds, yeah, that's it.
And I did it.
Yep.
Played it.
Also, the thumbnail has Harbortown in large writing in the top of it.
Give it away.
If you miss that, then...
And like a super yacht.
Yeah, if you see a large lighthouse, red and white, painted White House,
that'll be it.
It's going to be the one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you've not watched that, please check it out. And also, if you're listening to this on your favourite podcast provider and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that now. It's the Ruff Cut Golf Podcast on YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button. But also, if you do fancy tearing yourself away from your screen for even a short amount of time, maybe going for a walk, maybe going for a drive, maybe just having an extended period on the toilet, please consider listening to us. We'd love to be along for the ride.
Yeah, we love it when you go to the toilet while we can, and the statistics, we have like an analytics which tell us what you're doing whilst you listen to the podcast. So you 7% of you who listen on the toilet, thank you so much. We love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that 0.4%
for the
of you.
whole
Come
hour.
on.
For the whole hour as well. That's quite unusual.
Yeah, that smacks of pins and needles in the legs. That one, doesn't it?
When you get up and you've got the red marks on your legs because you've just been leaning.
Yeah, and then you have to across the edge of the bar.
You wouldn't know?
I wouldn't know.
No.
I wouldn't know.
Well, you haven't got time to do that stuff anymore.
I
being the athlete you are.
I don't poo anymore.
Yeah.
I just burn all the available energy possible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Someone who...
Harbortown.
Yeah, exactly. And Harbortown. I was going to try and say, someone who burned a lot of energy celebrating would be Justin Thomas. Now, am I right in saying that Justin Thomas hasn't won for a while?
Yeah.
He won last week.
He did. He hasn't won for a while prior to that.
Like a week ago, actually.
Prior to that, it had been a while since he had won.
It was the PGA Champs. So when was that? 2022?
Yeah.
And let's face it, he probably shouldn't have won that one either.
Mito Pereira threw it away.
Yeah. Oh, Mito. Remember Mito?
Yeah, that's another guy.
To Mito. It was one of those where it was a win and it was way too long coming. Literally not a direct comparison, but like between Rory winning a major, whatever. There's just a period of time that it's just way too long. And Justin Thomas is way too good of a player not to have won in that time period. But I think one of the big stories really coming from that, as far as his improvements, was around his putting. And he mentioned how he went to Xander Schauffele, who he considers one of the best putters on tour, which, well, he is, and asked him for advice, which I think is quite nice. It shows that, the American part of the PGA Tour, some of them do get on.
They don't just try and corral them together every 2 years.
Everyone doesn't hate each other. There's some good friends there.
Yeah.
And similar to the Rory saying Scott should try it on mallet, this might have the rest of the tour hating Xander Schauffele for teaching Justin Thomas how to putt again.
Solved a problem that is going to mean problems for everyone else now.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he goes on and wins again this year, Justin Thomas?
I mean, it looks likely. I mean, he's striking... Oh, okay. He's striking it as well as he has ever done. And the short game has been the issue. The putting has been poor. His bunker play especially has really dropped off. It used to be one of the best bunker players on tour, and he even hit some really whiffy ones around RBC, which as a course, every time I watch this event, and going helps a lot, you just forget that you look at 18 and then you look at the rest of the golf course and it is just not the same thing. It's so different, but it's so tricky. It's so tight. It's so methodical. You have to plot your way around, and you can hit good tee shots, but you're blocked out by a tree that's hanging 40 feet over the fairway. Yeah. So to win round there is obviously a very impressive ball striking feat. And you would assume that if he can continue to take that form into the events going forward, there's no reason why he can't win again.
He beat Novak. He beat in the playoff as well. Because I didn't have time to watch a lot of this, but the golf I watched, Novak hit, like, it's a tight course. Mm-hmm. Like the few holes that I watched, like Novak hit about 42 trees and ended up in the fairway every single time.
Okay. Oh no, one of those.
Like, that didn't happen to us.
No, it didn't.
These tour players just get lucky. I reckon they'd like turn the trees a little bit when the tour comes.
Little angles, yeah.
But no, as far as the course goes, like, it's definitely one. If you do have the opportunity to play, you need to play, because it's such an unusual contrast between that and the courses that they normally play.
Yeah.
Like, normally it's long, not wide open, but there are some courses where, you know, you can just bomb it and then gouge it out. This is a pretty old-fashioned, super narrow, a little bit shorter, and requires a different type of game. And so I think kind of Justin Thomas, if you picked a course for someone to win at, like Justin Thomas, because the reason Justin Thomas is so good is because he does have the length, he has the power. But you can also imagine him plotting his way around that golf course.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from the video, from the footage of the tournament and from our video, you can see how tight it is. Does that mean that players who are like less straight, you know, not necessarily, you know, miss the fairway, but less straight, will do worse around a course like that because there's just so much going on? You know, like someone like Minwoo Lee doesn't necessarily hit it pretty straight. He hits like a big, like lots of shape. Akshay Bhatia, a lot of shape. Like, would someone like that struggle around that course?
For sure, yeah. I mean, it's more difficult to kind of, you know, if you want to hit a big fade, take Akshay, for example. If you want to aim even outside right of the fairway, there's probably a tree hanging in the way. You know, it's hard to be able to really shape shots. So like you say, yeah, like that straight ball flight definitely plays into advantage for
Wyndham Clark,
yeah.
Exactly, he's the other example.
He doesn't play.
But no. He's like, I'm not doing that.
I think doing it. On the flip side of that, to kind of show an example of someone who would be, is like a Brian Harmon, because he's not the longest in the world, but he can keep it straight and putts well, and he had a good week this week. Yeah, you know, it does play into Tommy Fleetwood.
Oh God!
Hey!
Speaking about putting,
the boy can putt now.
Happy learned to putt.
Right. He's put a new Spider Tour X in the bag. Right. He's put some funny lines. Lots of little lines across the front of the face.
Yeah, right.
The boy can putt.
Right.
I was looking on Data Golf.
Right.
He gained so many strokes in putting this week.
Right.
Compared to in the Masters, he was like
compared to his previous performances.
Yes.
Yeah, I imagine so.
I mean, he's back to normal now.
But now he continues to tee to green. Never been a problem. Now he can putt. He's going to get up there. This year, we said it, didn't we? This year he's going to win his PGA Tour event. It's going to happen.
One.
Yeah, one. It's going to happen. Well, he needs to win. He's only going to got any, so it will be.
Yeah, he's...
He hit some good putts. Like you...
No, but he always does. That's the problem.
Yeah, but this was different. But
they never got there. They never got there.
This felt different. He hit some good putts.
There wasn't a roll and hope. It was more like this is going in the hole.
He looked good. He looked good
he
with the...
looks good.
Oh yeah, I know that, but he just with the mallet and the claw, he just looked, yeah.
Okay. Listen, I've like Fleetwood is now turned into like my new Rory. Like I don't want to keep investing hope.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't want to keep investing hope, but eventually it's going to happen. Like he's way too good for it not to. But yeah, man.
Either way, I was so happy to see that news when I saw the little picture of like what's in the bag this week, and he had it. Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
We'll see. Did you see her? By the way, obviously, FootJoy are a partner of the channel. And did you see the Justin Thomas switch over to the Hyperflex?
Yeah, he said
the Hyperflex.
Said once I tried them, I couldn't take them off.
It is one of those things where that must be like a dream. It must be for the guys in the marketing team at FootJoy. They're like, right, okay, so switching over to Hyplex, okay, like what can we do around it? Okay, it's always been like Premier Series Classic kind of thing. So switching over to this, we'll do this whole kind of interview with him. Let's hope he, switches into him properly, starts to play well, do all that advertising, wins.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, they must have been. They must have sprinted
beside themselves.
Yeah, the Christmas party was early at FootJoy HQ.
I reckon everyone got the message on like Sunday afternoon saying, "Get into work. We need to plan for tomorrow."
Yeah.
Oh man, it was like when. Do you remember when Rose went from TaylorMade to Honma?
Yes.
And he won the week after he went to Honma, and he got to world number 1.
Yep.
And then
that was it.
Yep. Yeah. Then,
God, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah. I always remember that because it was like such a big change. And he won. It was like, oh my God, what the hell's just happened?
Yeah.
And then he quit Honda after like a year.
Doesn't Andy Carter? No, I know Andy Carter has a Vega iron in the bag at the moment.
It's horrendous.
Was it bad?
So bad. It looks like a Fisher Price club.
Sorry, Vega.
It's just, listen, take this with a pinch of salt. Obviously, sponsored by Titleist now, best clubs in the world. But that is trash.
Don't think they're going to be taking this quote for their marketing.
The thing is, like he insisted. Well, he brought it out in Dubai, and he hit a few shots with it. And the scene out of Anchorman,
was it like a 2-iron or like a what is it?
Yeah, it was like a 2-iron. Basically.
Yeah.
And do you know the scene out of Anchorman when he's putting on the Sex Panther?
Yeah.
And Ron Burgundy's like, I'm not going to lie, that smells like pure gasoline. I was like, he was hitting some of these shots, and I was like. I was trying to be supportive, but I was like, Carl, I'm not lying. They go nowhere. And the ball fight is horrible. Like, what are you doing? It's like, no, I like it. I really like it. And then he brought it out to Scotland. It was just as crap. So I don't know if he's taking it out. I'm not saying that club is crap, but it was crap for Carter.
Yeah. Tricky.
Maybe it is crap. I
Tricky.
Don't do reviews anymore.
So we went from someone who had an exceptional putting performance in Justin Thomas to someone who one putt cost him an entire tournament. Joel Damon.
Yeah, 18 holes on Sunday of putting cost him really.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch because he's obviously a very likable guy. Full Swing has done so much for him in regards to giving the light on him as a person. And then to be leading and so not even just by one, like a few shots ahead going down the last 3 holes, and then you bogey the last 3 and lose by 1. It must stink. And he missed one of the putts he missed. It was like 2 foot, 1.5 feet. It was not. Yeah,
it was tiny, wasn't it?
It was not fun to watch.
I am less. What's the word? I am less worried about this than I think some other people. Because all this shows me that he's getting back to some good form. He's had some decent finishes. He had a chance to win a tournament, and it's the first time he's realistically had a chance to win in a long time.
Yeah, since winning there.
So he's going to be nervous. He's going to be trying to get this feeling back of what it's like to be in that position. And he had a bad few holes.
Yeah,
like I don't consider this to be a really bad thing. I just consider it to be an opportunity that he's missed, but also hopefully if he's getting up there a little bit more often, he'll be able to draw on that experience. And I'm a bit more positive.
And more on Peter Finch's mindset change later in the show.
Well, no, it's just
what the heck?
It's one of those things that like winning on the tour. Like this is the thing with like Tommy Fleetwood. Like you can get yourself in position a lot, but there's so very few players who actually win tour events. Mm-hmm. Like it's really hard for them to do. So for him to get in that position,
how is he not?
And obviously not win, it's gutted. But I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. It's good to see Gary Key go back, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's got a barnet on him.
Yeah, with I was going to say fresh trim, but no fresh trim.
No.
Just letting it flow.
Because he was one of the lads who, he was on DP World Tour, won a few times, went over to PJ Tour, and he won, was it one of the lockdown events? And it was in Carolina, and it was a course that we were going to go to when we were over there. What's it called? And it was in like a pine wood, and it looked really, really cool. Anyway, we're on the PJ Tour.
Pine Valley?
No. But then for the past 2 years, kind of not really seen too much of it.
No.
So it was good to see him back and actually winning. Lefty. Great golf swing.
More lefties out there.
More lefties out there. With talking about...
Oh, he's South African.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Welcome back to the room.
Yeah,
Hello.
sorry, I was
Thanks for joining us.
where is he from? Oh, South African.
And looking kind of forward into the future and talking about people you've not heard of for a while, we are on to the Zurich Classic, which is an unusual competition on the PGA Tour because it is a pairs event, the only one of the year, and usually what it boils down to is like mates playing with each other for a lot of money. And it's kind of like a four-ball foursomes kind of mix-up. Rory and Shane won it last year,
Yep.
which was, I think, a shot in the arm for the event because it's not an event that the best players all go to. Like I said, it's the Zurich. We can't wait to compete together and win. This is going to be an incredible event. It's kind of like, yeah, let's have a knock. You want to play?
Yeah,
cool.
We'll get the two families together.
It
We'll go
doesn't
and-
feel quite as competitive as the other ones.
Yeah.
It feels a bit more fun.
I'm just like Rory and Shane are defending this year, and they're obviously back playing. I must admit, I have such a massive come down after the Masters. I'm looking at almost every event, and I'm like,
It's hard, isn't it?
I mean, we've got the the top few pairings here. There were a lot more on the list, but like you said before we started recording, there maybe the first 5 or 6 are interesting, but
Yeah.
after that you're a bit like,
yeah. I mean,
is this field as good as the Masters
Do you not think
2025?
this-
Do we
do
even
you not
care?
feel like this event actually could sneakily be like really good? If it, do you not think if they like elevated it?
if it got,
Yeah, that's what if they made
yeah,
it signature,
yeah.
if they elevated, if they promoted it for the best players to come and play together,
I think so.
feel like it could be really good.
I think so. Well, it's the PJ Tour's opportunity to say, obviously it's nothing like Live, but it's PJ Tour's opportunity to say, oh, some team golf,
Yeah.
like people together.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Let's have a look and see what it's like. But like I said, unless it's a signature event, unless it's got the big money, then it's not going to attract the best players. And it would be good to because all of a sudden then it'd be a little bit less like, so you got Matt and Alex Fitzpatrick. So Alex plays most of his golf on DP World Tour, obviously an incredible player. Matt still up there in the world rankings, even though he's not had a good time. It's kind of one of those things where would they play together or would Matt go, yeah,
Kind of want to win this.
So Alex, awkward conversation. Yes, I've been chatting with Tommy and
He's up for it.
looks like we're going to be playing together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you prefer this is if it did get a kind of more elevated status? I wonder if they would still continue to let players pick their partners, or whether it would be like a little bit of a draw, and you would end up, playing with someone that maybe you didn't know quite as well, but you're now on a team for the week.
No, I reckon knife fights.
No. Oh yeah. Okay.
Tryouts.
I think picking it is one of the interesting ones. I mean, Will Zalatoris and Nick Dunlap. What's Nick going to do? God knows. Have you seen some of the footage from his Masters now?
Yeah.
Wow,
It's rough.
Yeah, it's a tough round.
that was unusual.
That first tee ball.
I could do that.
Like obviously Nick won on PGA Tour as an amateur.
Yeah.
Like he's
he's good.
He's an
He
elite,
can deal with pressure.
He's an
Apparently not.
elite golfer. But like what was happening to his swing that day was unbelievable. It just goes to show like golf is so mental. Like you can be literally one of the best players in the world and just have a terrible day on a tough golf course.
Yeah.
And it can just go literally sideways.
But then also like commended a lot of respect from a lot of the pros coming out the next day. And I mean, I think he shot like 300.
Yeah,
or
he
something like
was
that.
on the
So
par, yeah.
it was weird to see. But also what's weird to see, I find with this Zurich Classic is this is the only option you get for any kind of like little gossipy in the world of golf, in that you kind of look at the two people together and you're like, I didn't know they were friends.
Yeah,
didn't
Colin
know they-
Morikawa and Kurt Kitayama.
I didn't know they got on.
Did you not know Sepp Straka and Bryce Garnett? were
No,
like
I
best
didn't.
buddies, no?
I did not know that. I also didn't think Sahith Theegala and Aaron Rai. I just don't know when
That
they
does
were,
feel like a weird one.
but I like it.
I like both of them.
I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, sounds
What
great.
about Kevin Kisner and Grayson Sigg?
Honestly,
Who is Grayson
I
Sigg?
don't know who that is.
Who is that?
I have no idea.
Zach Johnson and Ryan Palmer. That was good. God, man.
God.
A lot of draws going on in that group.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Ryan Palmer fades it now, doesn't he? Anyway. Yeah, I must admit, like, great. I'll watch it, I suppose, if Rory and Shane are up there, but it's just, I'm on such a come down. The Masters was just like golf heroin. And
Okay.
everything after that is kind of like, oof. Is it ever going to live up to that height? Obviously, it's going to take a few weeks
Yeah.
just to relax.
Normalcy will resume.
Exactly, yeah. But it was just so good. It was just so
But
good.
we're not talking about a normal Masters. Like there's
Yeah.
more. There's so much more to this.
Oh, yeah,
which has
absolutely, yeah.
which has made it even, like you say, even more of a harder come down from it, because it's just so hard to come back from that.
Yeah. And
They're
I'm
so
like,
good at the same time.
So I'm like, oh yeah, but there's Zurich, you got Charlie Hoffman and Nick Watney playing together.
Now you have me intrigued.
What a pairing. Now, so my slight observation here is that there are a couple of interesting pairings with regards to the Ryder Cup. So I wonder if Luke Donald has had a little bit of his hand in this, because speaking of pairings who I don't particularly think would go together, McIntyre and Dietrich is a very interesting one. I wonder if this is a little bit of prep for maybe both of them making it into the Ryder Cup. And, do we think that this is a good opportunity for them to play a bit of team golf?
No, Rob was best man at Thomas Dietrich's wedding.
You don't know that.
I wish that was true, though.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. That's not Luke's style.
I know that
If you're not watching this and you're only listening, Pete is being sarcastic because that is Luke's style.
I know that Bob McIntyre has kind of quite openly spoken about Dietrich this year and kind of tipped him to play in the Ryder Cup this year and believes that he's good enough to do it. So I don't know if there's maybe we need to delve into it a little bit more and see if there is a relationship there. But it's this whole thing. It's like, it's not a partnership you just naturally put together. But then at the same time, obviously Thomas Dietrich is basically a PGA Tour player now after years on the DP. So like maybe they two have buddied up a little bit.
Yeah.
We just don't know. But
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I mean,
And then
obviously
the Højgaard brothers are playing together.
Yeah.
We don't know which one of them is going to have.
yeah, Rory and Shane. We just know is
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then Matt
I
Fitzpatrick
don't think Alex is getting there.
Matt
Unfortunately,
needs to play his way back into the team. So there's some stuff there that could be very useful information for Ryder Cup planning.
Do you think Keegan Bradley's put Brant Snedeker and Ches Reavie together?
I think so.
I think he has, yeah. I think
so.
Reevy's getting the first captain's pick, and I think actually Snedeker's going to play his way in.
I think also he got really confused about Aaron Rye's nationality. And just,
Do you know what's mad is that on the website for the Zurich Classic, where I got these pairings, further down the list, it says Aaron Ryan, Sahith Theegala again. So maybe they're playing twice.
So good they're playing twice.
Maybe they're going back out.
Are the Brian Bros not playing?
They're not
together
because they're on live now.
When this is released, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
That's a weird one, huh?
They're suspended. They can't play. They can't play in Zurich Classic.
well, I guess just Wes is.
Yeah, I think
kind
he
of
was,
everyone.
I think it was anyone who played in the duels,
But not Grant.
or Luke.
Or Luke.
I think he's playing in Philadelphia. I think he is. I don't know.
But Grant
Yeah,
can
so-
play in the Barracuda if he wants.
Maybe we should cut that out because I don't know. Maybe Grant the Barracuda.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Listen-
Literally, no one knows what's going on. Like
They know what's going on.
the whole world of social media influencers and the PJ Tour and Live, the whole thing is it's just a triangle of destruction right now. No one knows what's happening. No one knows what's going to come out of it.
No.
Have you ever played on any like live sponsored events, Peter Finch?
No.
Would you like to play on the PGA Tour?
On the PJ Tour?
Yeah, would you like a sponsor's exemption?
Oh,
to
wow,
some sort of
are you
event?
giving them out again? Seriously.
I've
This
got
is
them.
like the fake Masters ticket scandal. Stop giving out PJ Tour invites.
You can go whichever one you want.
Just at a bus stop in traffic, just like, you want to play on PJ Tour?
Which event would you like a sponsor's invite to?
Or any on the PJ Tour?
Can't be a major.
So absolutely any of them.
Yeah, go for it.
Can it be a signature event or is it
Yeah,
just
why not?
regulars?
Yeah, any signature event as well.
Now let's take those out because that'll never happen.
Right, okay, so we'll go very slightly more realistic.
Yeah, I like these guessing games of like, would you rather, whatever.
Yeah.
But I like.
But I'll set the rules.
boundaries.
Thank you.
Specific boundaries.
Yeah, I like
got you.
boundaries.
Okay, so no signature events. You're not guaranteed to make the cut, so you've got to play well.
Yeah.
But you will get whatever the sponsor is offering you.
No, you can play bad.
Any of them. Let's be realistic. I'd like to pick a course which is the one I would be least embarrassed at.
Right.
So I'd have to just have a look at which event has like the least outbound and the least water.
And no rough.
Tactical.
And like, oh no, they're rough. As long as I can find the ball.
Yeah, but like...
Because I got the hams, I can shift it back out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what's a course like that? What is a course like that? The Valero Texas Open.
Oh,
Yeah.
Get him
looks
in it.
wide open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good shout.
There you go. And I've always wanted to get to Texas.
And
so-
if you win that, then you can get the Masters. So there you go.
Yeah, just think of all the events I could play, and I chose the Valero Texas Open. Wow,
They might use that for their marketing.
that's extraordinary.
You're welcome.
Oh dear.
However, you could, even if you don't have a high skill level, you could play the old course for very, very cheap now, because the drive scheme has just been announced by the St Andrews Links Trust. And what it means is that basically, in order to try and promote golf to people who wouldn't necessarily have an opportunity to play it on these golf courses, they have put into place this scheme, which means they're going to offer loads of heavily discounted tee times to very specific groups of people. Be it women have a specific tee time, there's one for NHS workers, there's one for armed forces, loads of great ones. However, the best one, I think, for £42.50, you can play the old course at St Andrews.
Very nice.
When it's normally, £350.
Now, as happy as I am with this,
Yeah.
I'm presuming there's quite a few details in the small print.
What's the
There
T's
are.
and C's?
There are.
This is you've just given me all this great information, and now I feel this is going to be the end of an American infomercial on a drug that they're bringing out.
Yeah, do you want me to see how quickly I can read it?
Yeah, all the small print.
Tell me more.
Okay, so there aren't a lot of tee times.
Okay.
There's only 179 available tee times.
Okay.
Which means that there's around 10 at each of the courses for each of the stipulations to go
Right,
and
so it's
play.
not 179 just on the old. It's
No.
across all of the St
It's across
Andrews.
the different courses.
There's
Right.
only 11 on the old course.
Lovely.
And you have to be a Scotland resident.
Okay, cool.
See,
Cool,
I'm
great.
I'm falling down. I'm off the list now. But
However, you can go and play. You can go and play the Eden or the Castle course is £22.50.
I mean, it's great value.
You have to be armed forces, NHS, or a disability golfer.
Well, I was born in Hereford, or no, born in Ipswich, but made in the Royal Navy.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Wow!
I imagine that I do need to go back and play the Castle course, but I think after my first visit, I would like to have been paid to play the Castle course. After the second visit, I did enjoy it.
I enjoyed it.
I thought it was
But
great.
that was a perfect day. So, I mean, listen, anything that gets more people into golf, great. I would also say anything that gets more Scottish people into golf would be great, because it has always confounded and surprised me that there are not more Scottish golfers at the very top of the game. Like the entire country has some of the best and some of the most prolific amounts of golf courses anywhere in the world. And if you go outside the real big ticket names, you go outside your Turnberries, your Troons and all the rest of it, and literally sometimes just go 10 minutes down the road, you can get some amazing golf for next to nothing. I always remember when I went to Southern S a few years ago, and they just had like a free membership for juniors. Just if you're a junior, you can just join as a member.
What was the Carnoustie? That was something silly, wasn't it?
It was like literally a few £100.
For as a junior to play Carnoustie,
Yeah,
incredible.
for the two courses there as well. 2 courses, 3 courses, 2 courses. So,
Yeah.
and it always amazes me that like there's just not more Scottish youngsters getting involved with golf. Like how are we at a stage where we have Rob McIntyre? I think he's the only Scottish golfer in the top 100, maybe 200.
Let's have a game.
Because I don't know how Ewan Ferguson's kind of getting on at the moment. So
No, and I don't think I've seen Russell Knox on a leaderboard anytime
No.
soon.
Wow, those are some names.
And I
So-
don't think Martin Laird is knocking it around.
No. So it's just a real surprise to me. And I know that Scottish golf, so like the amateur game in Scotland a few years ago, it was going through like a massive upheaval. I don't think a lot of people up there were happy with what was going on. So there has to be something. And I know the winters aren't great, but there's just so much golf over there. There's so much opportunity. It's always been a baffler for me.
Rob McIntyre, 28th.
And we're going to be scrolling for quite some time.
A lot of scrolling.
Because I think free golf and cheap golf is important, especially if you want to get more.
For the lucky 11.
Yeah. If you want to get people involved in the game who might not necessarily get involved in the game because of the cost of green fees, it's great. But that's not where it ends, because golf is an expensive sport. Like if you give a family and there's 2 kids who want to get involved in golf and say, okay, well, we're going to get you free tee times, free junior membership, whatever it's going to be. There is still coaching. Yeah, there is still clubs. There is still equipment. It's not a cheap hobby for many people. So whatever can be done to break down those barriers, yeah, I'm all for it. And although it's a start, but
Think of what this will do for golf in Scotland.
You and Ferguson?
129.
93. 193.
190.
Wow.
So that's 2 in the men's game. That's 2
In the top 200.
in the top 200.
Yeah, that's not great.
And it's not, and it's
But cross over to women's as well. Like, same thing.
It's unusual, and I don't have any of the answers. I have no interest in administration and understanding what the problems are, but I just think it's strange. I think it's odd.
Very odd. And speaking of odd, Robert McIntyre, Thomas Dietrich, doesn't make sense to me at all. If you were going to play in the Zurich Classic, who would you pick as your partner? Okay, and you have to pick one pro golfer and one internet golfer.
Well, Rory.
No, he's already
He's already buddied up.
he's already paired up.
And?
You have to-
What the
Shane's going to be so
well,
sad.
What are the stipulations?
There can't be someone we've already listed. You can't have Scotty either.
But Scotty's not playing.
Someone
He's
who,
not listed.
someone who matches your game.
Scotty Scheffler matches every facet of my game. Look, I crap drive. Scotty good drive. Me 3-putt. Scotty 2-putt. Like, he matches my game perfectly.
Yeah.
How can you ask me who I'm going to partner and then take away everyone I want to partner?
You said you liked specific rules.
Yeah, no, but this is a PGA Tour event. Most of the players are playing. Is Xander up there? Is Xander Schauffele up there?
No.
I'll have Xander then, if I can't have Scotty.
Fine. What about you? What about internet golfers?
Probably Brad. Brad Tolkien, I think.
So you've gone for quality.
Yeah. Well, you've asked me who I'm going to team up with in a PGA Tour event, which is about winning money.
No. I'm with you. I just think there was 2 ways you could have gone. You could have gone for quality, or you could have gone for vibes
Yeah, and good times.
and good times.
I'm
I mean,
sure-
you still could have vibes and good times.
I'll have a great time with Xander or Scotty, if I'm allowed it.
But if
and
you
Brad.
knocked it round with Harrington, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Be fun, be deaf. That'd be fun.
You have a lot of great advice.
Oh, God, yeah. What do you think about this chip?
I was going to say you and Billy Horschel, but he's already buddied up.
Yeah, he's already with. Who's he with?
Who is he with?
Tom Hoagie,
Tom
obviously.
Hoagie. Oh boy, Tom Hoagie.
Obviously,
Lord.
come on now.
That's going to be coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that okay?
Yeah,
That's
mean,
fine.
That's fine. I wanted some sort of deep insight into who you think would match you perfectly, but just pick the best player in the world. That's fine. And Brad.
Yeah. Like, who better to match me than the best player in the world?
Rory McIlroy.
Well, it depends which data golf or world golf ranking
Yeah,
or whatever's coming
depends
up
what
next.
you're using.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to go to a short break, and then we're going to talk about the best player in the world, a man with 3 wins already this season, Mr. Peter Finch. So you do have 3 wins already this season, don't you?
That was embarrassing.
Yeah.
3.
You've got 3 wins.
3 wins. So it does have to be stated that win number one was the Skillers Pro-Am in Dubai. Thank you.
And I know there's lots of people in the comments who keep saying Pete keeps bringing it up, but it is cool. We will shut up about it eventually.
It's fine. It was a limited field, but it was over 4 rounds, and I wasn't playing great, so I managed to get it all together and get over the line.
No cut then.
Hold
no.
on.
No cut. No
So-
cut.
Wasn't it
no
4
points.
different courses as well?
Yeah, 4 different courses, 72 holes. Like that. I think that's the first 72-hole event I've played.
Wow. Well,
So,
congratulations.
Thank you. And I was happy with that. But
I'm happy with it.
He's now
ultimate-
highly ranked.
yeah, ultimately, it was just like, okay,
Played
it's
1-1.
cool. I'm happy. Great, whatever. The second one was the major that we did on Rick's channel over 2 rounds.
Oh, right. I wondered what the second
Yeah.
was. I was thinking, like,
Oh,
our
we got the trophy.
Stapleford comp in Arizona doesn't count.
Oh, yeah, I won the Stapleford Cup.
Congratulations.
That's, it's a big, shiny silver trophy.
The Rick
Do you not have the jacket?
The Rick Shields OG
No.
Major. Did you get a jacket?
No. That was
being tailored.
That was back in their office now.
Oh.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
only got to wear it for like 10 minutes. Now it's back behind a glass case.
Got you.
So yes, I got a big old. I'll keep it there.
Yeah, let's leave it on the table for the entire year
Just
until.
don't whack it.
So this was the second one. Now the third win, which was yesterday. Now this was an event at Fleetwood Golf Club, which was, I would say, I would say probably the most satisfying victory that I've achieved. Of the three,
I would say.
But also probably the best pro win I've had in respects of score-wise, shot 7 under, didn't have a bogey, played really solid stuff, and was very happy with how I got on. And also there's a fair few pros playing. It's like first event of the year, so everyone's out. So
keen.
It was kind of like... The thing I'm most happy with is like the whole point of the Quest for the Open videos this year is that we do something different every week. We try and learn, we try and pass that information on. And all round, I was just really trying to stay, process driven. So not thinking about outcomes, not thinking about scores, just one shot after the other. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? And stayed calm literally all the way to the 17th. Have I told you about what happened?
No.
Oh, God's sake. So I'm 7 under standing on the 18th tee. Now, the 18th at Fleetwood, relatively short. If you get a good drive away, you can get it on the green. But the green is surrounded by gorse bushes, by deep bunkers. If it goes wrong, it can go very, very wrong.
Right, okay.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try and make birdie the old-fashioned way. Iron into the fairway, wedge it on, try and hold a putt. Been putting pretty well all day. I pull the iron out on the tee, and Simon Lucas, who I'm playing with, turns around and says, "Oh, so you've seen the leaderboard."
Oh, no. That is a cold tactic.
And I said, no. And before I could say, don't tell me, it's like, oh, yeah, you won clear.
Oh, no.
So all of a sudden, I'm now on this tee. I'm thinking, right, so I just need a par to win.
8 iron?
All of a sudden, these bunkers, well, they just get bigger. Like the fairway gets narrower.
Oh,
and
my
I'm like,
God.
and rather than being focused on the shot I'm trying to play, all I'm thinking, all that's going through in my head is like par to win, par to win, par to win, par to win. Take a 5 iron, snaffle hook it.
Oh, no.
Goes into the left rough.
Yeah,
so my arse is kind of in a gorse bush.
Oh, no.
The ball is sat, the rough is about, I'm singling for the camera, but it's like a Coke bottle deep. And the ball is sat halfway up it.
Okay.
Oh.
With my arse in a bush. So I
Yeah.
could go under it
Uh-huh.
or I
And
could
just
go
whiff
over
it.
it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, for God's sake. So I'll get a lob wedge on it, get it to around, I don't know, about 20 yards from the front of the green. Pitch on to about 12 foot. And I'm like,
Not what you want.
That doesn't feel fun.
and I'm like, I hit a good pitch as well. It just like span. I didn't really get much spin all day, but that gripped. I was like, God's sake. So get up to it. But now I know I've like got a 12 foot to win. And I'm reading this putt and I'm like, it's a double breaker. I'm like, this is a nightmare. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, no, focus. You've got this.
Yep.
Just go through your routine. Read it, line it up, get set up, hole, ball, trust it and let it go. And yeah, boxed it.
Nice.
So it was kind of like, it was at the same time, I was really annoyed with myself that I'd stepped out of like the whole process thing, which we covered in the last Quest for the Open video. Suddenly got target, goal orientated, outcome orientated, should I say. And then I was really nervous. But over the putt, I kind of held it together and managed to get a really good putt. So I was really just pleased overall. And not only that, it's a course record. I've never had a course record before. This is my first ever course record.
Wow.
Yeah.
What, like not even it's like yours?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
That is sick.
So as you've got your little,
So
you're going to get it in a little frame.
I need to, because it's all on an app now.
Yeah.
So
You need to write one out
Frame
and-
my phone.
Take a screenshot.
Screenshot, yeah.
So I need to like fill out a card and think give it them. But I
that's
don't know if they
cool.
put it up or not. It doesn't matter. I'm not asked. It's just like
No, you are.
Oh, no. We are going there and we are getting them to put it on the wall. That's so sick.
no, it's great. But the actual is like, I know I've done it, so that's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't really give a shit about that. But the picture, it'd be great. But yeah, I'm not that asked.
Okay.
So I'm very happy.
7 under as well. That's some score in that.
I'm not gonna lie. It was the easiest 7 under I think I'll ever have.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. The only thing I did wrong was I hit a tee shot on 7, which was in the left rough.
Which one's 7?
Par 4, kind of into the corner, like a slight dogleg right to left, raised green.
Oh, yeah, got you.
Kind of put it in the left rough, not a great drive. Kind of hit it short of the green, and I was in an okay position, but I chip pitched in. It's probably like 25 yards for a birdie. Great. Like if I could take that one away, because I'm not that's a 1 in 50 shot.
Yeah.
So just great that it happened on the day. But I also three put a par 5 for a par, which was a tough putt. It was like a 50 footer, and my second one kind of lipped. So overall, it's just a great day. Just
Excellent.
Really good.
That's so
Just played
good.
great.
Could have been 8 under.
No, we're not thinking like that. We're not thinking like that because that is what gets us into the Dubai situation in the first place. We're not thinking about what could have been. What was that Pete won. He played really well. He stayed in the moment. He beat Matt Fryer.
Yeah, I mean, again, was that ever in doubt? Honestly. So the one thing I would say is I was like one of the last groups to tee off.
Oh, did you get the better side of the draw?
Oh, yeah. So
no.
I missed maybe like an hour of... It wasn't heavy rain, but it was enough that you'd put a brolly in.
Sure.
And I missed that, and I got some like probably the best of the conditions. There's a few groups after me as well that had better conditions overall.
Do you know what that is? I think that's actually karma for last year. You know, last year when we played at
last year
Fleetwood,
was
it was horrible.
Literally
All
the
the
worst
early people got great weather and we went out. Well, we were quite late, I think, going out last year, and it like rained for the last 10
was
holes.
grim.
Yeah, it was horrible.
It was absolutely grim.
I keep a camera dry while you shot like 7 over.
Yeah. I think I
Thanks for
shot
coming.
79. So, I
Hey.
mean, but to be Fryer, the first thing I noticed, because it's all on the app, like when Fryer finishes, so I go back to my phone after a hole to put the score in, like the first thing I see is like, oh, Pete effing this, effing that, lucky effort, getting out in the good weather, I was in the cold.
Just can't be happy for you, can you?
No. I don't think he can be happy.
Oh, what at all?
Yeah.
Just, it's very
Well, that's just, it's 2 times now you've won and beaten him. So it's just,
I kind of think that in my head, Matt's always been a better player. Like he was a much better amateur, all around, just really solid game. Just it's gone now though. Like I'm the superior golfer.
Hey, say it with your chest.
Call him out.
It's just nice to be on that hill. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't. I watched the Rick OG major the other day, and he didn't have a great day at Dundonald, did he?
No, he was struggling especially on the second day. I mean, we were all struggling a bit on the first day because it was cold, but on the second day it was, yeah.
You shot a little 2 under, didn't you?
Yeah, 2 under.
Solid.
Yeah.
Very solid.
I'm playing some decent golf.
Yeah, you drove it well.
It's,
very well.
it's just nice to see like the work we're sticking in is paying off. So
Yeah, no, you have been working very hard on your swing in particular, but obviously that mental side of things has started to improve as well. The one thing I'd be interested to know is, obviously you went to Dundonald and Prestwick and played in this major. If you could put your own... Yes, correct.
There's your trophy.
If you could put your own YouTube OG golf major together, who is the 3 people that you would have? And you can't say the others.
I was going to say, yeah, that's a bit.
Because you just have them 3.
If say maybe get rid of the OG selection, maybe who would you put together as a 4-man YouTube major
Right now, I would put together Brad Dolkey,
Okay.
Second time he's been mentioned on this podcast, but that's fine.
Luke Wong,
Okay. Yep.
and Grant.
Okay.
Because they're probably the 3 best golfers out there right now.
That would
on
be
YouTube golf.
some good golf. Yeah.
Against you.
Against me,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And what course are you playing?
I'll definitely.
Fleetwood.
He'll definitely be going back to Fleetwood. Yeah. Other than that, you've obviously got Sean as well. Sean Walsh plays some really good golf.
Yeah, he's very good.
And then you got the Brian Bros as well. So, but I'd do those 3 in a major. I think it'd be great.
I think that would be really good. Yeah.
I'd lose, but it'd be great.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah. Coming to a channel near you.
I can recycle. I can recycle this
Cross it
trophy.
Oh.
out.
Let's get some tip backs.
Good Lord. So was that last year when we were doing Quest for the Open, we had the Quest mini series. Okay, yes, right. You have a big trophy. Well done. We did
Still a bit of Guinness in there.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. We need to make a celebratory
No, I don't drink anymore.
vlog. You don't drink?
Athlete.
Too focused. Good. Are we not doing any mini series stuff this year? What's that? What's the plan?
I don't know yet. So last year we did 5 events.
Yeah,
I
I
want to
think
say we did 5 events with PJ Lanks, and it worked pretty well. But I was having a chat with Simon, and I think what we might do is just take the money from last year that we put into those events and just do it on one.
Okay.
And have like a big event,
Big prize pool.
yeah,
and
big event, a really
lot
good
of
course, and just, and just try and figure it out. I was chatting to Simon yesterday. Maybe Pleasanton we were thinking about, maybe Hesketh.
Is it
Redemption.
because in my mind, what would be great with this is obviously you open it up and it's a bigger prize pool, allows people to come and play for more money. But is it only still set to PGA Lancs?
If it's so, this would be the Lancs County Championship.
Oh, okay. So that would open it up.
No. So that'd be
That would mean it has to stay.
PGA,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can't invite a load of
So
other
if you want to
people.
come play on it, come and relocate.
So I think I mean you'd have
Sign on to the PGA Lancs.
So Matt would be eligible.
Yeah.
And I think Rick still
Has he
classes Lancashire. I think.
Has he re-bought his PGA?
I think so. I'm not sure. But apart from
He's
that,
not bought his Live Pro card, no?
No. Unfortunately,
Live.
they don't have local mini tours for Live.
No need.
Just care about the money.
No, because if they did, you win them, but you don't get in automatically, even though there's meant to be a changing of.
Yeah.
Sorry, John Catlin.
Yeah. R.I.P. He's not dead.
Not allowed to play.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So lots of good golf is happening, right? You've been talking a little bit about the mental game, which is excellent. I was lucky enough to be able to edit that Quest for the Open video where you kind of, I know you've been working on it, but it was nice to kind of mark it with a video of you kind of working on your mental game. With regards to the actual swing and, other changes, I know there's been a couple of lessons in the works. Have you resolved the fear of going low now?
yeah, I've got to be honest. Like looking back on that, and now kind of we've chatted through with that video and some of the other stuff I've done. I don't think it was a fear of going low per se, because like at no point yesterday was I nervous about like going lower. It was more about not thinking about outcome.
Right.
And that kind of sounds really simple, but just focusing on every single shot, not thinking about the overall score, it just kept me really, really present.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, did you, at any given point, apart from maybe on that 18th tee, were you thinking, I am 1 under, I am 6 under? Like, that wasn't a thought, or kind of?
I was keeping track of my score.
Right.
But
you just didn't feel that score was inhibited. You didn't feel like that was doing anything to you by knowing that information.
No. I mean, it was slightly different because I built it through the round.
Sure.
So it's not like I was
Didn't
5
get there
under through
quick.
5. Yeah. So that might have been a bit different, but I would have backed myself to be able to stay in the present still. I think there was maybe a couple of points on the back 9. Obviously, I was getting a little bit tired near the end where I started thinking. One of the points I was thinking about course record.
Oh.
No way.
I walked off the, what was it? Oh, maybe the par 4, so 14 maybe. And I walked off there and I was thinking, if I get a few more here, I might have a chance of a course record. But as soon as I did that, even then, I did it maybe after a couple other holes as well, where this thought just started to drift. And I did manage to pull myself
back in
around pretty quick and just be like,
so good.
I think that's the important thing as well, because the brain is such a powerful thing, and you can obviously try and tell yourself not to think these things, but it is so easy to get carried away, and it is so easy to make yourself just without subconsciously, these just thoughts come back in. So to have that ability to appreciate that you've just done that thing that you don't necessarily want to be doing, but then having the skills or the ability of understanding what you need to do to then ground yourself back down again.
well, probably one of the biggest takeaways I've done from, and again, actually a slightly serious point here. One of the biggest things I've taken from this year and like everything I've been reading, everything I've been trying to figure out, one of the most powerful bits of advice I actually got and read, and did I read it, listen to it? I don't know. But it was about thinking and like the process of how thoughts form, and because everyone's been through this point where something pops into the head and like, where the hell did that just come from? Or like you find yourself in a car at a bus stop and your mind drifts into these really weird situations, and you start like asking yourself questions like, oh my God, am I like a terrible person?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, what am I thinking about that for? That's awful.
I just want to smack that ice cream out of that kid's hand.
Yeah, just like all these intrusive thoughts. And you end up thinking about all these things. But the best advice I got was like, you are not your thoughts. So it's just the idea that thoughts come into your brain all the time. You think of thousands and thousands, 10,000 things a day, but none of those are often connected to kind of what you're doing, who you are. And it's just that idea that if a thought comes into your head, that's fine, but you don't have to latch onto it. So if a thought comes into your head like, oh, I think I'm going to shoot the course record, rather than fixating on it, it's just like, okay, it's fine. Just let it go. You don't have to latch onto it. You can just let it go, and then you can refocus. Okay, what's my next shot?
That was really nice. I felt a bit of like
I felt lovely.
tension come out my shoulders there.
Felt
It was
really
quite a
good.
nice sort of.
Yeah, because it's just it's one of the things that kind of out of everything that I've done this year, one of the things that really hit home. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
like I don't have to, if something comes into my head, I don't have to think about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
It could just
And that's so relatable as well to everyone. You know, everyone's always done that. And like you say, this is going further than just sport related. Like in
I was going to
life,
say, like, where else is this
how
helping
many
you?
times you would, things will come into your head and you think, why the hell have I just thought that?
everyone's got their favorite thing that they beat themselves up over.
Sure.
Like something that just comes into your mind and it nags at you for like weeks and for months and whatever. But you can, again, it's the same thing. It's just like more often than not, whatever that thing is you're focusing on, fixating on, you've probably just invented most of it yourself.
Yeah.
Because most of it is around like what you believe other people perceive or things like that.
This is such good info.
And it's just a case of like most of the time it's just paranoia.
Yeah.
And being able to let that stuff go is great, but also understanding that people think about you a lot less than you think.
Yeah. I say this to Lauren all the time. People are always only ever thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you, really. You might walk past and they think, oh, okay. And then they get on with whatever they're like. People are always stuck in their own worlds and their own minds, and they're not necessarily thinking about that thing that you might find really embarrassing.
People are doing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everyone.
Yeah.
If this makes you feel better, then great. You're not special. Everybody, pretty much. There are differences, but we're all exactly the same. We do exactly the same things. So that's why people are going through the same things you are, because everyone goes through the same thing.
Wow.
I think that was good. That was really interesting. That.
Oh my God. I think you're going to win the Open. Your mindset is so good right now. Let's go and play golf.
It's amazing what happens when you have a good round.
That's also true.
Imagine I shot 86 yesterday.
Yeah.
What have I been saying?
Yeah. Would it have affected you?
I'm the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
I hate life. God.
Yeah, that was pre-Finch though. That's like old Preter Finch.
No, I really enjoyed that. That was interesting. And I think what you said there resonates a lot with. I'm sure everyone will think the same. Like, it is so silly. It's so stupid sometimes, but actually just making that understanding of like being aware of those thoughts don't necessarily rate or actually what you need to fixate on. And even from like your standpoint, obviously you're playing in professional competitions, but like, probably 99% of the people listening are just the average golfer. And I think that can definitely resonate and, translate into their golf side of things as well. Mick, you've sort of gone down a little bit of a journey in this, I suppose.
Yeah. So I kind of sprung this idea on Pete when we were thinking about how to tell the story of him working on his mental game for Quest for the Open. And I said, oh, by the way, I'm going to go and interview these two sports psychologists, performance coaches about your mental game, and also ask them for some advice for the average golfer. So what you saw in the Quest for the Open episode was edited down to kind of 6 minutes, but in reality is an hour long of me asking them lots of questions about Pete's game and how he talks to himself and his reactions to bad shots and what they were seeing. I played them like a long montage of qualifying last year and the podcast and some other reaction stuff. And their reactions to your attitude were very interesting. But the stuff that I thought was the best was at the end, I asked them a load of questions that could help the average golfer about first tee nerves, about the yips. Sorry, didn't mean to say the yips out loud twice.
It's more shanks you need to worry about.
Oh, no, there it is. So I asked them loads of really interesting questions. What we thought we'd do is to play out the end of the podcast episode this week is to give you the last 20 minutes of that episode, of that interview, where we asked them about the average golfer and things that the average golfer can do to play better golf. So here's kind of 20 minutes of that, and then we will just finish off in the studio here. But here we go. It's Matt Shaw and mine, Robert Hall. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so my name's Matt Shaw. I'm a sports psychologist at a company called Inner Drive. And essentially, I work across a range of different sports, primarily in golf, but athletics and football and other sports too. And essentially, I would see my remit as helping people to perform better under pressure, but generally better in terms of how they learn about themselves, how they practice and improve parts of their game.
Martin Robert Hall, performance and mindset coach. Excellent. And what the heck does that mean?
Well, in a sporting context, that is about helping people to get into a flow state, perform at their best. Not just during, but also before. So it's the whole wraparound. I call it a step process. It's about matching and maximize skill set, then thinking, knowing the relationship between your thinking and your performance, environment, and managing that to set you up for success, and then personality styles, because within every athlete you've got a different personality, and knowing what works for you, your strengths, playing to your strengths, knowing what your weaknesses are, being aware of your blind spots. So there's a lot to sort of filter through and come together, but then simplifying it so it's not all jumbling around an athlete's mind when they're trying to perform, because actually they need to be doing the opposite of thinking when they're...
What techniques or practices can an average golfer use to deal with first tee nerves?
Have a strong pre-shot routine that you've practiced and you've practiced on the range. Hit that same shot on the range beforehand so you feel a bit more comfortable when you're up there. Some deep breathing, and talk to yourself in a helpful way. What things do you need to do to hit a good shot? So it may be around where you're aiming, it may be around how you want to swing it, it may be around what you want to be focused on, for example. It's very specific in that sense, but we should only be thinking about 3 or 4 things on the tee, and all of that should be directed at hitting a good shot, not technical execution, which too many people think about. So we should be able to see it in our pre-shot routine. We should be doing our practice shots to make it feel like we know what we're trying to achieve, and then it's focusing on a particular point, often that's the back of the ball, quiet minds, and execute.
Excellent.
I think exactly the same as what we've just been talking about in terms of that pre-shot routine, having that consistent and treating it like it's any other shot, not first tee, and committing to the shot. Mm-hmm. I think as soon as you frame it as first tee, and again, what is probably gets in most people's way is this shot means more than anything. So if I hit a good one, it's going to be a good round. If I hit a bad one, it's a bad round. Too many people place too much emphasis on the meaning of that first shot, meaning that that's going to set the tone. Whereas actually, you've got another 3 or 4 shots just for that hole. So if you think that the first shot determines how well you play your round, I think the chances are you're going to hit a poor shot. So again, if you had a cheat card and it just showed you like, this is your setup routine, these are the swing thoughts, go through that, and you may feel slightly differently on that first tee, especially if there's a crowd, depending on the competition. And that's okay if you feel differently, but don't change your behaviour. Just keep that consistent. Therefore, the routine comes in. Even just the way you're thinking about that, the amount of meaning, importance placed on the shot, the increase in pressure, probably causes more tension, which is not good for golf.
What's the best way for a regular club golfer to bounce back after a setback?
So I think you have to think about why that's happened. Depending on the context will change how long. So if it's a bad round, you might have a while until you play again. So you might think in a bit more depth about why that's happened. If you've just had a bad hole and you're walking to the next tee, then of course we don't want to spend ages thinking about it. But we want to have an idea of what's gone wrong, solely because we don't want to do the same thing again. And it may be that what went wrong is we actually just made a bad decision, which is okay because we can make another good decision on the next hole. It may be that what went wrong was something technical, for example, and it may be that we think quickly about what we might do as a result. It may be club selection. So there's all these factors that can lead to us having a bad hole, and it's quickly trying to identify why that may have happened, and then very quickly switching the focus onto, okay, here's what I need to do for this next shot. So I would always say that as we leave that hole and get onto the next tee, on the next tee, we do not want to be thinking about the last hole. By that stage, we should be thinking about, on that hole, what do we need to do? So for most people, that is going quickly from, okay, this is what went wrong. This is what I'm going to do as a result. So we've done a bit of evaluation. We've done some learning. Anytime we reflect, the most important thing is action steps. What do I do next? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, okay, it's great to know what's gone wrong, but we need to make sure we fix it for next time. So some action steps. Here's what I would do next time I'm in that situation. And then what do I need to do on this next hole? Here are the 3 things I need to do to perform well. Here's where I need to aim. If you've played that hole before, what happened last time I played this hole well, and get yourself thinking about that previous experience is what I would say.
It starts with straight away self-talk. What you tell yourself. Now, initially, so I talk about the difference between the reaction and the response. So reaction is anger, frustration. That's a reaction. That we're not going to try and eliminate that. But how quickly can you go from your reaction to a response which is more considered and controlled? Now, some people stay in reaction mode for the rest of the hole, sometimes for half a round, sometimes for the whole day, beyond the round.
They get home and they're still angry.
They get home, they're still angry. So going from reaction mode to response mode, and that starts with what you tell yourself, and then it starts with resetting, breathing. So physical things like breathing. In golf, you can walk it off. You've got time to think. But if you're thinking and beating yourself up for another 2 minutes while you get to the ball, chances are by the time you get there and you tense, are you going to hit a nice relaxed shot? Probably not. So self-talk, routine, breathing. 3 very simple things. But just forgetting about it, being able to just play one shot at a time.
Yeah.
That's so simple, but for most people, what they will do is they start thinking, well, that's my round gone.
Yeah.
If that's your self-talk, well, that's my round gone today, or I'm not going to play well today, or that's a bad sign, or if it's catching yourself saying those things, and again, if you've got a cheat sheet with some of those phrases, one shot at a time, breathe, relax, forget the score. Reaction is often impulsive. It happens so quickly, it's not a choice, but a response is a choice. You have a choice. If you've got 2 minutes until your next shot, or a minute, or 30 seconds even, you've got enough time to make a conscious choice. But if you're stuck in reaction mode, you're not making a choice when you step up to that ball.
Yeah.
You're just acting in haste, maybe.
Why do we feel the need to go for the hero shot when chipping out of the trees is almost always a better idea?
Firstly, I'd say because it's fun.
Yeah, you're quite right.
Like, especially if we're with other people, knowing I could hit it through that little gap in the trees, and if that came off, it'd be a brilliant shot. That is fun. And that's why we play golf, is because we all know we'll leave the course and there's that one shot that will stick with us that whole time. And if it's the hero shot in front of our friends, or even when we're just by ourselves, that's really what we want to do. Sometimes when it's under pressure, it's because we're just not making the right decisions. So we've spoken a bit about when we're under pressure, we make poor decisions. Sometimes that is the case, for example. And most of us try and play with an optimistic type outset around wanting to perform well. And it feels counterintuitive sometimes to not do that, or to feel like we're not doing that. We all have this action bias where it always feels better when we're doing stuff. So it feels bad if we're stuck in traffic and not moving. It feels bad if we can see someone struggling and we're not helping them, even if I'm not the best person to help them. It feels bad for goalkeepers to not dive when penalties get taken, but statistically they're more likely to save it if they stay in the middle, for example, because we have this action bias. Chipping out to the side is not as fun, but it doesn't necessarily feel like we're trying to perform well. Sometimes it feels like we're succumbing to a poor shot, or, okay, I'm going to make bogey if I do that, for example, whereas I could make par here. So it's a mixture of all 3, I would say. A bit of action bias, a bit of it's not as fun, and a bit of it feels like we're then succumbing to a worse score. It doesn't feel like we're saving a shot, but we probably are saving a shot, because if we hit the tree and it ends up behind us, or if we hit the tree and it goes further into the rough, or if we hit something or it goes into the water, then we're just going to gain another shot as a result. So there is an element of taking your medicine when you're out there, which no one's very good at doing, except for the very best. Yeah. You see them do that all the time. Sometimes they make these hero shots, and that is, you tend to see that more often than you see people chipping out, because that's what people like to watch, and that's what makes better viewing. When you go and watch events, you would have been to watch events, and you see people in trouble, more often than not, you're going to see them get themselves back in play, and then probably try and get up and down from wherever they are, or put it on the next shot to be good, as opposed to put the pressure on for that one shot. Because like you say, You know that a perfect 9-iron is going to get up over that tree or through that gap and then land on the green in front of the bunkers or the water. Does a 90% 9-iron do that? Maybe not. But does a 50% wedge get us back into the fairway? Yeah, probably. And then we're more likely to hit a good shot from there.
Yeah.
So it's just tweaking more than anything else, and we're all guilty of it.
What can we do away from the golf course to set ourselves up for success when we do get to the golf course?
So I think it starts with the goals that you set. And people may not consciously set goals, but they subconsciously have got expectations about how they're going to play, what score would be good. And so actually setting some process goals to start with. And then, however you want to perform, practice it. It's as simple as, and often the simplest methods are the most effective. So practice what you want to repeat when it matters. And if you go onto a golf course and don't do what you want to do, but you haven't practiced it, then don't beat yourself up for that. Because where's it going to come from if you haven't rehearsed it? That's as simple as when you go to the range, do you just go and smash 100 balls? Or do you have a routine? And maybe you'll hit some, but then make sure that every time then you practice that routine, actual shot routine. Because then it's realistic. You'd be better going and hitting 20 balls purposefully than just hitting 100 and hoping that 80 of them are really good and therefore you're prepared for the course now. You mentioned about for the average golfer, and sometimes the average golfer, they might just want to go and enjoy themselves on the range and just have fun, and therefore, so then it's about setting the expectations when you go on the course. Can you just accept that you'll hit some really nice shots and you will hit some bad ones, and again let go of the score? But that's if you make the focus enjoyment, knowing that not all of them, not all of the shots are going to be great. Again, it's about expectations beforehand. But if you expect to just go and have fun at the range and then turn up on a course and just play really well consistently for 4 hours, it's being able to make the right decisions, knowing what's within your capability, and knowing that what risks to take and what not to take.
So the first thing I'd say in a situation like that is it's fine if we're not thinking lots about it. I don't think we need to think lots about it because we start to overthink, overanalyze, put too much pressure on. The first thing that I'd be asking people is, if they've played at that course before, think about times when it's gone well. The best predictor, or one of the best kind of reasons why we might feel confident, is past experience. So can we think about positive past experience that lends itself to us playing well? Lots of golfers who are members of courses have played that course loads of times, and it may be that it's the club champs that's coming up, but they've still played that course loads of times.
The course hasn't changed.
The course hasn't changed, and they've played really well on that course at times as well. So it's relatively simple in the sense of, let's start thinking about those positive experiences you've had and really visualize them and see them in your mind, and why did we perform so well when that happened, and let's start trying to take some of the lessons of that into when we're going to play. If we haven't played there before, most golf courses you can see online now, most golf courses either have some sort of drone footage, pictures or aerial shots of holes, or at the very least will have like a map of the course. Let's start thinking about some of the shots you might have to play. I know that I'm going to be hitting my driver a lot. I know I'm going to be hitting this club a lot. When's a time where I've hit my driver well? When did I last hit my 5-iron off the tee well, for example? And start thinking about what leads to those good performances as opposed to anything else that might happen. Because whilst the course is the same and we've played it before, we can't control most of the stuff that happens out there. We might have an idea on what the weather's going to be, but we don't really know until we get up there, for example. So it's all of the things that are in our control. How do we make sure that they're ready to go? I'd say that those basics are actually the most important factors. If we're having lessons and we're making swing changes, for example, just make sure we're practicing them. So if we've had a lesson the week of us playing, it's probably not going into round knowing that we're fixed and that everything's going to be okay, but we're making sure that we're still practicing that stuff on the range. We might frame the round that we're playing in a different way around, actually what I'm really here to do is just try and get it feeling like X or swinging like this, for example, and think about the sort of things we want to do when we're out there. And then think about why we're playing in the first place. Because it's fun, and because you're with your friend Mitchell, for example, or that you haven't been to Winchester before, and it's quite cool that you're at a new golf course and you got a new bag tag, for example. Like, all of these things that actually draw us into the game as well. Thinking about those things, because it's way too easy to go, if I'm not, 18 over, or I don't break 90, I don't break 80, 70, whatever it might be, I'm going to be really disappointed. It's why am I playing in the first place? That's what I would say the important thing is.
Excellent. Why do golfers get scared of short putts and tricky chips and tight fairways?
Well, I think it comes back to expectations again. Rory McIlroy and the missed short putts that he'd not missed. One in 450, and then he missed that one. But that's really hard because he's got to forget that, detach from the outcome, and just execute that putt as if it's on any other hole and it doesn't mean anything. So I think it was Steve Davis, a snooker player, that said, the key is playing as if it means nothing at all when in fact it means everything. And like that, detaching from the outcome again and just trusting what you're doing. And the only way to try and control that is that what's the routine, and then just trust it. So know what you're going to do before you do it. If you don't, if you're trying to figure that out when you step up there, it's too late, because all the thoughts have interfered, and you probably make a decision where you change what you would normally do. So it's knowing what you're going to do before you've even done it, and then trusting that.
What is the yips, and how do we solve it?
It's a good question, and it's a question we have been grappling with for a while. There's a few different answers, I guess, on what the yips is. Some are way more technical than others. We know what the yips looks like, so it's a particular skill under pressure, for example, and sometimes that manifests itself in chipping or putting, or those kind of closed skills, or those smaller skills. Usually there's an element of anxiety, and that anxiety we can't quite deal with, and it comes out in our performance. There is some interesting research out there that's looking at more clinical ways of dealing with the yips, for example. There is some interesting research that looks at more, I guess, performance psychology ways of dealing with the yips. Everyone experiences it in a slightly different way, but the outcome always looks the same, which is really interesting. So, like I say, often it's putting, often it's chipping. We know that what can cause it can vary, if I'm completely honest, around a particular skill. What I would always say is the important thing to remember with the yips is it doesn't usually last forever. There are practical ways you can get over it. Sometimes that's speaking to the club pro, for example, because they would have had the yips before. So there's some anecdotal experience of how you can get out the yips. And sometimes it's going back to basics. What am I trying to achieve here? Is there another way that I can achieve this as well? So it's kind of a long way of saying it's really complicated, and there's lots of hypothesis around what the yips are and what it looks like. I would always say, as an amateur golfer or a golfer out there with the yips, the important thing that we want to be focusing on is what things happen every time. What are the symptoms I'm actually getting? So it may be that it feels really jabby when I'm putting, or I keep finning my wedge over the back of the green because it feels jabby again, for example. First thing I'd think about, is there another way I can execute the same skill? And go strip the skill right the way back to just movements. What am I trying to achieve here? Well, what I'm trying to achieve here is I'm trying to be smooth, or it's about the follow through, it's about the bounce or the impact, for example. Whereas where we usually get, again, is thinking way too technical about the skill, and that exacerbates the issue as we go forward. So I would always say the important thing to remember is it does go. It can be really, really annoying when we're out there, and no one obviously wants the yips. Most of us have had the yips, so if you're playing with someone and they can see that you've got the yips, it's fine. Everyone's had it before. It doesn't make you perform better necessarily knowing it's fine, but there are some really easy strategies that you can use to start to help with the process anyway. And if it is causing you real problems, come and speak to someone like me or a psych, or speak to your pro at the club about it, because they will either have strategies to help you with it. Once we understand what's actually happening in terms of how you're thinking, it can be quite straightforward to actually help you get rid of it. And most pros at golf clubs may have had the yips, or have worked with golfers who have had the yips before, so we'll have answers to help people as well. So there's a way of saying everyone gets it. There are some easier strategies that you can use, but it's actually about finding those strategies. Sometimes I think it's about just boiling the skill down to the real basics. What are you actually trying to achieve there? And then moving forwards from there. Whereas it can be, once we realise we got the yips, far too many people overanalyze and go, okay, so when I had my chipping lesson, this is what I had to do. Whereas no, when you had your chipping lesson, what you were really trying to do is focus on contact. What you're really trying to do, putting, is focus on tempo or pace, for example. And if we start to focus on those things, it's surprising how quickly we move away from that technical execution of the skill, and it starts to feel a lot less like the yips.
Okay, cool. And I think what we'll probably do, this is okay, we'll chop that and we'll put it as a separate kind of video on the channel as well.
Yeah, nice.
Just so
Yeah,
if
really
you do want to watch that separately, if you're listening to this or you've watched this video and you do want like a separate video, I think we'll stick that up as well.
If someone wants to go listen to like the whole hour chat as
I've
well,
got 57.5 minutes of interview questions.
where could they go and...
So that's a very good point. Well done, sir. If you are in the Discord, which you are, because the link is down below.
I've told you 100 times
and I've
now.
told you 9,000 million times to be in the Discord because it's where all the coolest people are.
Yeah.
I will post the link to the full 57-minute interview in the Discord when this goes live tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So you can watch 6 minutes of it in Quest for the Open, you can watch 20 minutes of it on the Rough Cut channel, and you can watch the entire hour-long interview if you join the Discord. So go and join it.
Yeah. Just forget about like the last thing Pete said before the interview and that thought of going and joining the Discord. Actually do it. Don't actually go, oh no, I don't need to think about that. No, you do.
No, you
actually do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, but there's nothing to think about, is there? It's just an action.
Yeah. That's
You're
true.
focusing on the process. Click the button.
What's
enter
the
your...
thought process you have to... It's an obvious go and do.
Yeah, don't think about the Discord course record.
It's like instinct.
Yes,
It's like
sure.
fight, flight, Discord.
Yeah, sure.
There's a third.
There's a t-shirt.
Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew?
Cool. Right, guys, that's, I think, everything for today. Tomorrow, when this video comes out, we're going to be playing the Manchester Open.
God, winning another comp. Wow.
2-day event.
So,
14 under.
different day, different course, different possibilities.
Different
Yeah,
mind. Same
easier,
mindset.
better,
Same
stronger.
No,
And if you are listening...
Harder.
that's outcome.
Better,
It's outcome.
faster,
It's
stronger.
not process.
Let's think about this for 1 second. If you're listening to this when it comes out at 8, it's already too late because you've already played probably half of the holes. But if you want to come and watch you tomorrow, they can come watch the second round, maybe.
Maybe. To be honest, like, Didsbury's a bit of an awkward course to get around anyway, is it?
Oh.
It's not in good condition, apparently.
Oh.
Like,
the Mersey's been...
like, not good.
All right, then.
All right, bring your
just
wellies.
make sure you hit a fairway. Just, at least then you have the high chance of it being acceptable.
But I'm thinking of it as an advantage. I
Yeah.
know what I'm heading into.
You know what you're heading into? You'll go play soft, attack.
Attack.
Don't attack.
Process.
This is me just testing
One
you.
shot at a time.
This is me testing you.
What's the course record at Disbury?
And where's first tee?
Say on Friday. Right. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
everyone.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.